So our next speaker is Nancy Wilkins-Diehr, and told them to have the tech person here and ready. So
it's actually starting. I don't mean it to
oh,
start just.
sorry. I will end it. Make sure to keep it.
So I'm Nancy Wilkins-Diehr from the San Diego Supercomputer Center. I'm leading an institute called the Science Gateway Institute, similar to Phil Bourne's 3D virtual cell. We're in the planning phases right now. He's invited me to come say a little about that. So about 8 years ago, I started a program looking at web front end and supercomputing back ends and what it takes to merge those two. So you've got familiar front ends, you've got much more computational power on the back. How does that work? And so through the course of doing that work, I came to see a lot of these front ends kind of come and go and started to think, you know, some of these things could have a real impact on science if they weren't so transient, if they weren't, you know, sort of 3-year research funding cycles. But how do you determine which gateways are successful? And so we undertook a 2-year study to look at that, and a number of folks in the audience actually participated in some of our focus groups. Anita, Tim, thank you very much. Probably haven't seen the summary. You know, we read a lot of reports preparing for this study, and it was kind of discouraging because there were some great cyber infrastructure reports out there, and we didn't want to be just the next one on top of a very large pile. So we thought we'd try to do something a little more memorable and make a video that kind of summarized what we found. And so this is it. It's starting without me starting it, and there's sound. So it wasn't the sound that came on your Tim, I promise. But I'll be very surprised if this actually works. Let's see. So there is sound. So I don't know who are they. Yeah. So well. Okay, a minute. It's 6 minutes long, so you know I'll just start it. And, you know, you can get the idea without the sound. It's just background music, so maybe I'll just. Yeah. Okay. It's good background music, not as good as the surfer stuff, but okay. Oh, there we go. Kind of. So here there's people chattering and things growing, and then it becomes more silent. So you're sort of building communities around these front-end web interfaces, and then after a while they go. A lot of the themes that we've seen over the last 2 days here, how you can, collaborate and organize and discover with these kind of websites. And here, so this is a more general public kind of presentation. So it's we're contrasting things that people are familiar with, Travelocity, find a lot of things in one place, to things like National Science Digital Library, also find a lot of things in one place. Same thing, Weather Underground or traffic information, Ocean Observing Initiatives, an example of using sensors for science. So we have Amazon's web services in the public space, and this is a astroseismology gateway on supercomputers. References to crowdsourcing and citizen science across these couple of days. So there's really a lot of potential here if you have the longevity. This is what we would see really typically, starting over and over again, and really. The barriers that's put up to advancing science is constant reinvention. So this was a 2-year study. It was really fun. We did get to talk to a lot of interesting people, beyond just the typical NSF-funded project. a lot of very good creative ideas. Typically, these things start off as research projects without a lot of thought to the future, how to be sustainable, how to be operational, kind of this fine line between cutting edge research both in computer science and in science, and how you sort of marry the two to have something functional for domain scientists. We saw this, quite a lot. And, it's sort of one thing if you invest time learning how to use Travelocity. It's another thing if you invest in using something for your research that then goes away after a couple of years. Very transient nature of web development. How you deal with that? Yeah, so we did see a lot of these. Hey, this is a great idea, but no community around it, and really listening to comments from the end users, being very closely connected. We see this a lot in participatory gateways. How do you get rewards for solving other people's problems, for contributing things? So how to determine whether something is successful and deserves sustainable funding is a very tricky thing to answer. It's not easy. We found the most successful projects combined funding from lots and lots of different sources, and I think we saw that here today also. And typically, as a researcher starting a small project, you're not thinking about this in the long term. You're thinking about achieving your immediate goals. So the idea for our institute is forming kind of a consortia where we can have gateway developers across a lot of different disciplines share expertise in maybe business plan development, open source software development, marketing, things like that. Because we really saw a commonality across domains. That was the neat thing about the Science Gateway project, is that the only commonality was using supercomputers on the back end, lots of different domains on the front. And they found it just as valuable to communicate with each other about things unrelated to supercomputing because of that kind of community that we had. So we thought, we're going to pitch this and expand beyond supercomputing. We think it would be a valuable contribution. Just about over here. Yeah, too bad you don't get the music. It's much better than me talking through it. So this is our plan. It was really nicely timed along with these institute conceptualization grants with the end of our study on successful gateways. And so we're pleased to be here, pleased to be involved in this planning effort, and happy to hear from anyone interested. It's just it's replaying itself. So that's it.
Thank you.